Today we have another multi-subject video. With so much going on each day, it's difficult to keep track of it all. Chelsea Manning loses her attempt at a Democratic nomination in the state of Maryland, getting 5.5% of the vote. Many people are happy that a person who became infamous for leaking sensitive information is thankfully not going anywhere near it. Now let's talk CNN. CNN's Jim Acosta is the type of person people love to dislike, as you can see in this clip from a Trump rally in South Carolina yesterday.
President Trump will be here later on tonight campaigning for the man who wants to be the governor of South Carolina for another 4 years. That is Henry McMaster. And as you can hear behind me, Wolf, the crowd is very fired up. We have about a couple thousand people in this room so far. They are letting the press corps here know exactly how they feel about what we're doing here, Wolf.
You are likely not surprised by the reaction of this crowd when CNN is present, as they are the greatest example of the supposed avatars of the free press. They have spent decades running defense for certain politicians and companies in every tactic of yellow journalism that you can imagine. The public's perception of them are a result of their own actions, as their actions have spoken volumes about their character and their intentions. CNN and their cohorts have refused to take any responsibility behind their own decline and instead blame everybody else for making fun of them. Here we have Lester Holt, an NBC news anchor, saying, "I don't think you can tweet away or insult away the years of integrity and trust that were built by these organizations. So I don't think we're in danger on that level." He was, of course, talking to Donald Trump. That's like saying, what's the worst that could happen? Although you can't lose years of integrity and trust if you never had it to begin with. So, how have our people on the left been doing? Celebrities are shedding literal tears on the internet like children. Activists are physically following representatives to their homes, and politicians are calling for even more. There are people saying that civility against conservatives needs to come to an end. Here we have Bill Corbett of Mystery Science Theater 3000 and Riff Tracks. He is one of many people saying outrageous stuff like this, essentially calling out for their brown shirts to make an example out of dissenters. Constantly offering civility to people who never ever give any back is insane. It's for moral cowards. In other words, the Democrats. So he's literally calling for a civil conflict, though I don't expect to see him marching in the streets with a bike lock. He wants other people to do it for him. He is one of many, but this is just one that I'm using to make a point. Now, here is Mad Maxine Waters calling for the public to form groups of people and confront government officials when they see them out in public. Well, Republican government officials. No Democrats. That's not okay, and you'll see why in a little bit.
If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome.
Man, now it looks like she's reclaiming your time. It's very clear what these people are calling for. The tolerant left, at it again. They start by embellishing the shortcomings and perceived wrongdoings of those they disagree with. They create a false dichotomy, an if you're not with us, you're against us scenario, where you are either the good guys or the bad guys. Their perception of reality is that simplistic. More about Maxine Waters. President Donald Trump tweeted this out, talking about Mad Maxine. Congresswoman Maxine Waters, an extraordinarily low IQ person, has become, together with Nancy Pelosi, the face of the Democratic Party. She has just called for harm to supporters, of which there are many, of the Make America Great Again movement. Be careful what you wish for, Max. Laura Loomer, a woman known by a lot for her tire blowout that she blamed on Antifa, confronted Mad Maxine in this video, where Maxine brushes her off.
My name's Laura Loomer. I'm an investigative journalist. You just recently made some comments in which you encouraged your supporters.
Who are you, darling?
My name is Laura Loomer. I'm a Trump supporter, and I'm also...
Come to my office and talk with me.
Where can we eat?
We'll be happy to talk with
Where
you.
can a conservative eat at a restaurant in D.C.?
Loomer is not without her own flaws, but I am enjoying her videos confronting political figures and heckling them at book signings. You see, in this case, she is doing to them the same thing that they are asking the public to do for them. The difference is that the average government official won't have the same security that these high-profile people do, the people that Loomer confronted. Confrontation is one thing, assembling into an angry mob is another. Judging from the amount of outrage they are attempting to generate, it's only a matter of time before the groups of people confronting a public figure ends badly. Also, while I was making this video, Laura Loomer announced that she has filed a police report against Maxine Waters. It will be interesting to see how this turns out. Next, we have the Supreme Court ruling in favor of President Trump's travel ban, which has been criticized by various political activists. It was a narrow decision, leading to salt from people like Colbert, who decided to post this earlier today. You have to wonder why it is that so many people are so emotional about things that do not affect them. It's strange the amount of shilling going on for progressive activism. These people are doing everything they can to generate that blue wave, but perhaps if we shine a light enough on the dishonest things that they are doing, it will work in our favor. Just think about all of the apolitical or centrists out there who might hear of some of the crazy things elites are calling for these days. If you can somehow translate the outrage of the left into action of the right, perhaps we aren't nearing the end. Perhaps we can keep this going just a little bit further. Finally, let's end with a clip from CNN. This was on a show called Reliable Sources, hosted by Brian Steltzer. Ironic, I know, that a show on CNN of all places would be called Reliable Sources, when they themselves could be described as an unreliable source, to put it mildly. Brian Steltzer looks like a Goomba. Also, here's a reminder that he was asking around for the docs of that Reddit user last year when a GIF was made making the company look foolish. Steltzer invited Glenn Beck, the whiteboard news guy from a decade ago, onto his show. Beck was interested in talking about current events, but Steltzer had other things in mind.
Stop dividing us. I mean, I can't.
So to be clear, you think that I'm dividing the country? You think I'm dividing the country for ratings by booking you?
Brian, stop. Look what you're doing. When did this become about you? This is about the media and the administration. That's what you guys want to make it into.
If it was about me, I would do like a 10-minute commentary the way you used to.
That little bit should give you an idea of what the conversation was like leading up to Glenn Beck leaving the interview. Here is him actually leaving the interview.
I do have to ask you, there's this new headline on the Daily Beast saying that your company's in trouble, that you were trying to find a buyer. Is this related to the point about people not talking to each other? That if you want to create that media company, there's not interest? What's going on with that?
Wow. Brian, thanks a lot. We want to stop it, and you want to play those games? Have a nice day.
What game did I just play?
Hey Brian, I just wanted to help you out. This is probably the game you were playing, although it's hard to tell with the video game industry in the state that it's in. Most of these games are the same, but I have heard good things about Fake News Network Simulator. On the official YouTube channel for The Blaze, Glenn Beck went over his thoughts after going on to CNN's Reliable Sources with Brian Steltzer.
So yesterday, I was foolish enough to agree to go on CNN and Brian Stelter's Reliable Sources. And what I was asked to do was to speak about the border of 2014 and also why the press cannot reach the Donald Trump voter. And I was foolish enough to think that they actually wanted a reason.
Steltzer was referring to this article from the Daily Beast about owner of The Blaze, Glenn Beck, looking to sell the website. If this was something Brian Steltzer intended on bringing up, he should have brought it up before the show, rather than cornering Glenn Beck in a gotcha moment about his failing website. If you are pretending to be avatars of the free press, you should at least hold yourself to the standard that a YouTube podcast operating out of a garage holds itself to out of common sense and common decency. Sure, Beck came off a little hypersensitive, but I have seen this same reaction in clips from many different individuals when they felt that the interview devolved. I can't say I blame Beck, despite me not caring much for the guy. So those were just a few things I wanted to talk about today. The video is going to go up a little bit late, but I wanted to bring up some of this stuff because I find it quite amusing. But let me know what you guys think about the longer videos, whether I should keep them closer to like 6 minutes or whether or not you prefer them to be a little bit longer. It's kind of the same difference to me. It's a little easier to edit if they're a little bit longer and I throw in multiple stories, but I have to admit I kind of prefer to keep each subject to its own video. But I'm trying to figure out what the audience thinks. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you all later.